We know enough of the roster at this point with a few unanswered questions, but let's start talking about who should be doing what this year.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. Locked On, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you today by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Your bet's got to win, and then you are in. That simple, that easy. All right, we are going to talk a lot, obviously, about Arizona basketball today. We are going to talk about some Arizona football as well. But first, why don't we talk a little bit about where Arizona then is when it comes to this roster, where everybody is, what we're expecting from a statistical expectation. And again, this can all change a little bit. If some players come back, whatever the case may be. Okay, now the first one is we're just going to go position by position, and we're going to talk about what we expect. Jaden Bradley, I expect Jaden Bradley to be much the same, maybe a little bit better, a little bit more efficient this year. And I think with JB, the thing that you got to look at is the three-point shot. Can that three-point shot get better? I do believe it can get better. Not only do I believe it can get better, I believe he's got good form. And when you look at him, he's a guy that you watch him and you're like, okay, I think a big part of him is just confidence. And with him, he just got to be able to shoot the ball. If he shoots the ball and it doesn't go in, cool. If it does go in, cool. It's kind of like with Pella a little bit, where Tommy Lloyd had to encourage him to just shoot more. And I think that's what you got to do with Jaden Bradley. He's a difference maker. He's a total difference maker. And he is a winning basketball player. And I think that's the thing that you need to look at, and you need to be like, okay, that is a winning basketball player. I think him not having to play 30 minutes per game, or 40 minutes per game, whatever the case may be, that is going to be a good thing for the U of A. And that's going to be a good thing for Jaden Bradley as well. Because again, Arizona needs him to be able to play at a very high level. And if he plays at a very high level, Arizona is going to be in really, really good shape. But from a statistical standpoint, I look at him and I think he's going to be probably about 12-4-4, something like that. I think that what you would love to see is all conference defense out of him. If you can get all conference defense out of him, I think you feel really, really good about where you are. But that's where I'm going, 12-4-4. Now, Braden Burries. Now, I understand that with Burries and with Pete, you don't want to get ahead of yourself because everyone's like, well, these are 5-star kids. But who knows? They could be like Carter, where it takes them some time. These guys are different than Carter. Now, again, I'm going to say I actually think Carter is a better prospect than both these guys long term. But Carter was also young. And the thing with Carter is he's a player that you watch him and you're like, man, those best days are ahead of you. But they're not quite there yet. You look at Braden Burries, and he's physically more mature. He's going to be 20 years old. Carter looks like he's going on 14, and that's a good thing for his long-term development. But you can also watch him and tell that he is a young buck. He's like one of those young fawns in the field that we always talk about. So it's not totally surprising that he was going to be something like 6-4 next year, or 6-4 this past year. Braden Burries is going to be a lot better than that, because Braden Burries, again, I don't think that he's got he doesn't have quite the upside that Carter has, I don't think, but he can really score. He can get to all 3 levels on the court. And when he gets to all 3 levels on the court, he can finish. That's the other thing. He can shoot the 3. He's going to be a guy that, the ball is going to be in his hands. The ball is going to be in his hands a lot of the time. And that's where I think that's something that you got to factor in, that he is going to be a guy that, people are going to be focused in on. And when you're focused in on somebody like that, it's going to make life easier for other people. Now, I think that it was an interesting point too, that Burries, I don't believe is going to have the upside that Caleb had when Caleb was just going. But I also believe too that I think Burries is going to be more steady. I think he's going to be more of a steady Eddie type. And I think you're going to kind of know because this guy's a trained scorer. And I think when you watch it, you're going to be able to like, okay, that guy knows what he's doing. At the NBA level, I don't know what he's going to be. But he's kind of got a little bit of an old-fashioned game to him as well. He's just a really, really good basketball player for the U of A. And again, you can see why Tommy Lloyd prioritized him. He is like I said, he's going to be somebody that you're going to win a lot of games with. So I'm going about 15 points per game with him. Now, we're going to go, and I think he's going to be fairly effective as well. Now, the other thing, too, we're going to look at Carter. We're going to look at Carter Bryant. Carter Bryant if Carter Bryant comes back, I think he's going to be about 14 or 15 points per game. I think he's going to be I don't know if he's an All-American type, but I also don't know that he is not going to be an All-American type. He's an absolute, like I said, he plays really hard. And when he like I said, he plays really hard. And he's also someone who has the ability to be able to get to where he wants on the court. And he's going to be able to make a lot of threes. The 3-point ones are the ones that are going to change everything. I think that he is he's a spacer, but like I said, he gives a lot of how do I put this? He gives a lot of position flexibility on this team because he can block shots. He's got to work on his ball handling. But if he comes back, I think he's about 14 points per game, something like that. Now, I know you're going to say, Mike, not everybody can average 14 points per game. I get it. We are going to figure that out. We are going to figure out how this all does play out. But at the end of the day, I'm excited to see exactly how this squad does form, because this is like I said, this is a team that's it's going to have a lot of firepower. Now, Koa Pete, this is one that I feel very comfortable in saying he's going to be somewhere between 12 and 14. I think he's much better offensively than maybe people know. Not only is he much better offensively, he's more physically ready. I mean, he just is. This is different. Like I said, I'm not sure that he's a better prospect than Carter. As a matter of fact, I think Carter long term could be better, but Koa right now is an animal. Koa is coming in here, and Koa is coming in ready to dominate. And, with Arizona, that's what they needed for. He's also got a great understanding of the game. He's also got a feel to him too, that he's going to be able to have other people that are getting in there and are making life a little bit easier for him. He is, like I said, he's an exciting player. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. But he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem from day one. And I think teams across the country are going to have to be prepared for that, because he ain't going anywhere either. I mean, when he steps on the court, he's going to be ready to contribute. And the thing about him too, when you get guys like that have been in the public spotlight since they've been in 8th grade, and they continue to stay in that top 5, that top 7 realm, that means that they're a stud. The ones that I think you worry a little bit about are the ones that they kind of come out of nowhere, and sometimes they can be awesome. Don't get me wrong, but there's also ones that sometimes they come out of nowhere, and you're like, do they have staying power? Koa Pete clearly has staying power. So, I mean, you look at it, that 1 through 4, I would be stunned, especially if Carter comes back, if those guys aren't all in double figures. He is like I said, it's a team that's got a lot of firepower, and a lot of firepower across the board. Now, a lot of people are asking about that 5-man position and where everything is with the 5-man. I find that interesting because Arizona needs a very specific thing out of its 5-man, and I think that it's pretty much got the exact package. But first, we need to talk about FanDuel. FanDuel, my friend, FanDuel. Okay, the NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Again, right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if the bet hits. I mean, come on, that's get in there, play, and you could get $250 out of that. I love how FanDuel makes betting easier. It's awesome, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props, from three-pointers to steals to shots, etc., etc. Plus, after the game tips, you can do the live betting. Live betting is awesome because then it really gives you a feel that you're in on it, because you're like, okay, I think I know something that somebody else doesn't know. Watch this. That's what's cool about it. Again, check it out, FanDuel, my friends. And again, don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. FanDuel.com. NBA playoffs are here. That's what just make it even more enjoyable. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now let's talk about the 5-man a little bit. I love the situation. Now, again, I know that there's going to be some people that are bummed about that there's not a spacer, that there's not a how do I put this? That there's just not a spacer, basically. I get all that. But at the same time, I do think though that it's fair to say that this team is it's going to have more than enough of those. The big men up front, Mo Krivas. Listen, I think he's probably going to come off the bench because I don't believe that you get Tobe Awaka back. I don't believe that you get Tobe Awaka back because he's a player that, or if he's not starting, and quite frankly, Tobe should start. Tobe this past year was really, really good. And listen, if there's games that he can't really play very well in, I get all of that. But he's also somebody that you watch him and you're like, man, there's a lot to like about him. And he is like I said, he's a grinder. He can get rebounds. He can score around the hoop. You win with players like Tobe, and he's like I said, he's a really, really good player. Now watching him though, you can also see too that he's a player that's going to be limited a little bit because he is shorter. Not only is he shorter, he's, like I said, he's difficult to, he's going to have difficulty finishing against players with a lot of length. Get all that. I'm not really breaking any news, but he is also someone who knows his role, and that's where Mo Krivas comes in. Listen, Tommy loves Mo Krivas, and I think Tommy at this point deserves the benefit of the doubt with Mo Krivas. Look what Tommy did with Henry. Look what Tommy did with Keyshawn Johnson. Keyshawn Johnson, people forget this. Keyshawn Johnson came in here averaging 5 points and 5 assists or 5 rebounds, and he's now in the NBA. You got those dudes. You've also got somebody like a who else you got? Julius DeBellis did a really good job with, etc. Umar Ballo. So he gets the most out of his bigs. The bigs, I think you could make the case, especially at that power forward spot, have been his best players traditionally. So, that part is what it is, as the kids would say. But going forward, though, I think these guys are going to combine for, I'm going to say they're going to combine for 17 and 12. I think Tobe is going to be very similar to what he was last year, 8-8. And I think that Mo Krivas is probably going to be somewhere about 9-4. I mean, when you look at it, if you can spread those stats out over the 5-man position, I think you feel pretty good about it. And again, too, it helps when you've got somebody like Tobe that knows his role. There's going to be some games, and again, I don't think that Tommy played it great, to put it mildly, against Oregon, where where Tobe was absolutely annihilating Nate Biddle, and then for whatever reason, Henry played the rest of the game. Didn't really get that one, but is what it is. But Tobe was obviously okay with it. Now, coming back, Tobe's signed up. Tobe is back, and he is like I said, he's a difference maker. He is somebody who you look at though, and you're like, man, you could win a lot of basketball games with win a lot of basketball games with Tobe Awaka, and he is that's the kind of player that you need. He is somebody that, like I said, he is you look at that and you're like, okay, I can win things with him, and that's all I can really say. They've done a really good job with it. Yeah. So there's that. Now, when it comes to what you're going to be getting off the bench, we're talking ADO, my man. We are talking ADO. He is, like I said, I think he's going to average about 7 points per game. And he is a, like I said, he's a really, he's a valuable role player. He's a valuable guy that, is, he knows his role. He can play defense. He can do a lot of, he can't play defense, but he can shoot the three. He can, he can get out in the, he's actually a pretty good finisher around the hoop, no matter what some people like to besmirch him with. But obviously defensively, he's not great. Don't know what else to really say there. Not great. But what I am excited about, though, is that he gives you offensive firepower. And he comes in there, and ADO is an assassin. That's what I like about ADO. You watch him, and you're like, man, that dude knows exactly what he wants to do out on the court, and that next shot is going in. And that's what always been my opinion with ADO. He's a player that you watch him, and you're like, okay, at least that next shot's going in, because I think that's a super underrated quality with players. Sometimes you'll see guys and it's messing with their emotions and stuff that the shot didn't go in. With ADO, there's none of that. He's looking and he knows, man, that next shot is going up, and that next shot is going in. I think that's the great thing about ADO. And again, too, another guy, I think it's very, very underappreciated that he knows his role. I think that with him, you can also just tell that he, there's going to be some games he plays 6 minutes. There's going to be some games he plays 17. And I don't think enough people really understand that that's such a valuable part to this entire equation, though, is having guys that know their role, what they're looking to do out there on the court. You need to have dudes like that. And if you have dudes like that, you're going to be, like I said, you're going to be in a lot better shape I think, than some folks realize. But ADO, you're going to win a lot of games with him. I'm happy to have ADO on this roster. As a matter of fact, I think that, like I said, I think you're going to win a lot of games with ADO on this roster. Now, the next one too that I think you want to talk a little bit about then is from a shooting perspective. I think he's a good shooter. You need him to probably be, maybe get a little bit better defensively. Maybe there's ways with you getting stronger that it can help, but he's going to have to play some. And I think people have to realize that. Now, Dwayne Aristode is the one that I think is the massive wild card for this entire team. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, as we talked about, Dwayne Aristode, that guy is going to play 20 minutes per game. The big thing with him is if he's healthy. Now, if he's fully healthy and ready to go, he was starting to project as a one-and-done type player before the injury. If he's healthy, he's a monster. He's somebody that you can slide in there and say, all right, well, Dwayne Aristode, here are the keys to the castle. Have fun with this one. He's got that kind of ability to him. The thing with Dwayne Aristode, though, is he's going to have to continue to just progress from his foot injury, but he can shoot the three a little bit. He's really, really good getting downhill, and he's also he's very advanced. Another one, I'm not sure that he's a better prospect than Carter again, but if he's healthy, he's definitely an NBA guy. And not only is he an NBA guy, he's somebody that could be a fairly high pick. I think that's what's exciting about him. He also is somebody that I think you watch and you're kind of like, what is that next step for him? He's a guy that you watch him and you're like, all right, if you're ready to rock and roll, you're going to be a problem from day one. And I think from a statistical perspective, I could see him averaging 8 points, 3 rebounds, couple of assists, and having a tantalizing type talent, because again, he's a really good athlete. I think the one thing with Aristode is you'd like Aristode to get downhill. If Aristode gets downhill, Arizona's in going to be a real problem for a lot of different teams. He is like I said, he's really, really good. And I'm excited too, because you watch him and you're like, man, He's healthy. He's going to be good. And I think that's what, again, I don't know that we've done a good enough job here talking about him, but that's somebody that the staff is incredibly high on, and for good reason. Now, the other one that we need to talk about too a little bit is Evan Nelson. Evan Nelson, there's no illusions to what Evan Nelson wants to, there's no illusions to what Evan Nelson is going to be doing here. He is a really, really good player. But at the same time, there's also going to be games when he plays 3 minutes. There's going to be games where he plays 10 minutes. He is a good three-point shooter. He's a steady player. He's better than Conrad. I don't want to put a statistical expectations on him, more so than just a minutes expectation. In that, watching him and you're like, okay, cool. You're going to be able to do X, Y, and Z, and I think we're going to be able to feel good about it. And I think that he's going to be able to play a few minutes against good teams. That's something with Conrad where Tommy, like we talked about, Tommy was blowing a little bit of smoke in that Tommy was saying that, Conrad was going to be able to good enough to play against teams. Well, he wasn't. And when you had the opportunity, you didn't. Not beating up Tommy, just calling a spade for a spade. But Evan's going to be that. And again, Evan is also a low maintenance player. I think that's what you really like about him too, is that he is not going to, he's not going to cause problems. He's not going to be paid a ton. And again, he's a hometown kid. He's a great guy. It's cool to see this. I'm glad Tommy Lloyd signed off on this one because guys like this make a lot of sense. Now, somebody like Bryce James ain't going to play this, isn't going to play this year. And that is more than okay because LeBron and his camp totally know about the long-term plan. Now, there's this, I think there's this this thought that, well, LeBron, he's going to be this helicopter parent or, whatever the case may be. There's nothing to indicate that. Literally, his kid doesn't start on the on his high school team. You never heard anything bad from USC about with Bronny. And I think that, and again, Bryce isn't as far along as Bronny, but I think that you could make the case that Bryce long-term might be better than Bronny because Bryce is going to be like 6'7". Bryce is going to be significantly taller than Bronny. He's not the type of athlete that Bronny is, but he's also a really good three-point shooter, decent feel for the game. He's just got to progress. And I think that's something where the James camp and U of A are on the exact same page. I would expect him to redshirt. And honestly, when you get portal guys like that, that's what you want to have happen. You want them to, all right, not portal guys. When you get kind of diamonds in the rough, you want to get the players that come from money because the second that, a higher priced team comes after them, they don't necessarily need it. They trust in that plan. Plus, oh, by the way, he's with Clutch. That's obviously a really good thing for the U of A. And then Andre Iguodala Jr., he's visiting Baylor. That's an interesting one because Iggy is one of Jack Murphy's best friends. I would like to see Arizona offer him. And, as long as they are on the same page about where everybody is on, Iggy's development, I'd love to have Iggy in here because I think it's a lot of a Bryce James type situation. And again, another one that I think that you can win a lot of games with. So there's obviously that. So we will, like I said, we're gonna see how this does all play out. But this is a nice roster. The big thing is you got to know what's the latest with Carter, and I would assume we're gonna know about any day now. What is Carter going for? Carter going to the draft? Is Carter coming back? Whatever the case may be, and I think that's what's exciting with this entire endeavor is. Carter. If Carter comes back, Carter can turn this team into a national title contender. I really believe that. You don't have a lot of flaws. You don't have a lot of weaknesses if you've got Carter out there. Now, you're going to get some people are going to say, oh, well, Arizona doesn't have this or Arizona doesn't have this. Well, you can make the case, though, for about any team out there that if you don't, if you miss on a player or if you, somebody gets hurt or no team is constructed perfectly. There's just not. And even the teams that I think a lot of people thought were constructed perfectly, like a Duke, they still ended up losing to a team that was not constructed perfectly in Houston. So you could kind of miss me with a little bit of that stuff just because I don't think that it really I don't think that it really adds up. I don't think that it makes a ton of sense either. And, that is what it is. But tomorrow we're going to talk some more. We're going to talk some football. I know I've been promising that. We're going to have some position by position breakdowns. There's been some players that have been explosive in camp and guys that this coaching staff is really, really high on. And I think we need to talk about that. I also think the offense is going to be significantly better than it was last year. But on that note, Very much appreciate you all keeping Locked On Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. Locked On your team every day. We will be back with you tomorrow, TTFN, and have a great rest of your Wednesday.